嗨，大家好，很高兴在这边看到大家，然后欢迎来到2023年的Processing Community Day Taiwan。然后今年的主题是 Call as X，由我们 SpOnAcT 团队举办。这样，什么是 Processing Community Day 呢？Processing Community Day 或者简称 PCD 是一个致力于推倡跟提倡跟推广创意编码平台 Processing 的原本的活动。然后这个活动从嗯原本只是推广 Processing 这个开源的程式语言跟开发环境作为出发点，然后慢慢的演变成一个全世界各地有创意编码师、艺术家、设计师、教育工作者以及任何对于创意编码有兴趣的人来一起讨论互动，然后激荡出新想法的一个社群活动。在2021年的时候，由 C-Lab 举办了台湾第一届的 Processing 台湾国际社群日。他们从多元、公众跟教育这三个观点出发，然后带领大家一起去回顾了这些编码城市的发展，然后探索当今的趋势，并共创未来不同的科技想象。然后今年的第二届的 Processing 台湾国际日由 SpOnAcT 偶发集合主办，就是我们。然后今年我们的主题叫做编码作为行动 Call as X。那这个主题就是希望呃让创意城市设计在进入社会各种不同的领域下，如何思考科技跟社会不同议题当中交织的可能性，以及我们邀请了海内外各种不同的团体与正在进行的各种努力。嗯，那今年主题主要有三大部分，分别是艺术、教育跟社会这样。然后我们有很多种不同形式的分享内容，包含每个人只讲短短5分钟的闪电分享 Lightning Talk，然后有1小时的工作坊 workshop，一些有在国内外不同与创意编码有关的科系的学长姐举办的解惑式 Office Hour，跟由就是领域相同或不同的人进行长达2小时对谈的分享 speech，这样。然后希望大家如果对这些活动有兴趣的话，也可以在呃我们的粉专找到更多的资讯，这样。那我们就事不宜迟，然后欢迎我们的今天的开幕讲者，Dan Shiffman。然后 Dan Shiffman 现在是在 NYU 纽约大学 ITP 这个科系的教授。然后他最有名的经验就是他在 YouTube 上面开了一个频道，叫做 The Coding Train，然后以免费开源的方式教大家怎么使用P5.js 或是 Processing 这些不同的程式语言。然后我们今天非常的就是荣幸邀请到他来为我们的 PCD 台湾开场，希望他可以带给大家一些有趣不同的观点。然后前面15分钟会是 Dan 跟大家分享他的经验，然后主要的演讲内容会用英文进行，但是我们同时有提供就是直播上面的字幕给大家可以看。然后在他演讲的过程当中，你也可以直接及时问问题。然后最后我们有时间的时候，我们就会把大概15分钟的时间，会把观众的一些提问做挑选，然后我会负责把这些问题翻译给 Dan，然后让他回答之后再把这些答案翻译给大家。这样，好，那事不宜迟，我们就把时间交给 Dan。Dan，take it away。
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see you, although I don't really see you, but I did just open up my phone here so I could kind of see the chat scroll by, and I said hello there. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you, Munus, and the whole team from PCD Taiwan for inviting me. I'm going to try to use my best time management skills to tell you a little bit about myself and help welcome you into PCD Taiwan, and hopefully then just be on the fly on the wall for a lot of the other activities that are happening. So give me a moment here while I switch over and get to my screen share. I'm going to hit slideshow, and then I'm coming back to Zoom. I'm going to do screen share. Let's see if this works. All right. Hopefully you are seeing me now. Seeing my slides. Yes, we're all good. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to just switch out of this for a second because I have lost part of my Zoom. Sorry about this. All right, I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm just going to go full screen. Okay, so I think the thing I would like to say to you all first is, have you had food today? I don't know if I got that right, but I wanted to say a wonderful welcome. I've never been to Taiwan. I was just saying to my kids who are teenagers and getting ready for bed because it's 9 p.m. here in New York, I was saying, I'm off to Taiwan. I'll be back in about a half an hour. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm really honored to be here and very excited to be opening your Processing Community Day. So first of all, the slides, I mean, I'm going to switch just into the browser and show you a bunch of different things. But the slides that I have prepared for you, hopefully if I've done my job correctly, you can find them at this link. And I've linked to a bunch of the different things that I'm going to show. So one of the main things that I do, in addition to all the other activities that I do with processing and P5 and creative coding and YouTube, is I work and teach at a place called ITP, and now IMA. So ITP is the Interactive Telecommunications Program in New York at New York University, part of Tisch School of the Arts. And IMA is the undergraduate program called Interactive Media Arts. There is also an IMA Low Res, which is a one-year master's program. These are a few photos. It's sort of tradition that every year at the end of the semester, the students put on a show of all their work and we all take a photo together. So for me, when I think about ITP, when I think about IMA, when I think about processing, when I think about P5JS, when I think about coding, the first thing I think about is community, the people. And so I'm so excited to get to be a small part of your community today. And I invite you in to be in community with me always and forever. So I wanted to highlight and talk about a woman named Red Burns. So Red Burns founded in 1971 a place called the Alternate Media Center, a research and implementation center for new technologies at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. And that's 1971 is actually not very much before, but before I was born. In 1979, it became the Interactive Telecommunications Program. So it's important to note that this program had a long history, and that's a picture of Red there, a force of nature, an incredible person. You can read a lot more about her if you do a little research on the internet. But one of the things she did was she discovered the Sony Portapak camera, and that's her holding it right there, and really thought, what does it mean if technology like a camera could be put into the hands of the people? And I think that sort of thought, that experiment, that idea she had, you can draw a line all the way back from that till right now, and the way that I think about teaching code and working creative coding tools and putting them in the hands of people, of artists, of kids, of retired people, of scientists, of anybody from all over the world. So you can, if you come back to these slides, I encourage you to watch this little video about Red. I'm not going to play it for you now, but every year for as long as I know, Red would open the program with a set of slides to inspire and welcome in the community of students. And it still happens today. The applications course, which was Red's class, has been taught by a series of different faculty members. And I wanted to open today, PCD Taiwan with Red's words. So let me click here. So I'm going to do that right now. And I hope that this, I sort of felt like, okay, I have to open this thing. I've got to come up with something meaningful to say. I'm not very good at that. I know I can use Red. Red was always my inspiration. So here we are. As you come together, depend on each other. You will find yourself wearing the ill-fitting clothes of someone else's world, dining on the strange food of thought, starting on the strange food of someone else's thought. If you can resist the temptation to run to the shelter of your comfort zone, if you permit yourself the intellectual curiosity to explore your differences as you would a new city, you might be pleasantly surprised. And Red would say, what I hope for you, and I hope this for you with your time here with PCD Taiwan, that you combine that edgy mixture of self-confidence and doubt. Enough self-confidence to try new things, enough self-doubt to question. That you make visible what without you might never have been seen. That you communicate emotion. That you play, observe, imagine, and create. That you look for the question, not the solution. That you don't see the world as a market, but rather a place that people live in. You are designing for people, not machines. That you are willing to take risks, make mistakes, and learn from failure. That you develop a practice founded in critical reflection. that you build a bridge between theory and practice, that you value serendipity, that you reinvent and reimagine, that you listen, that you ask questions, that you speculate and experiment, that you play, that you are spontaneous, that you remember to collaborate, that you turn your thinking upside down, that your curiosity knows no bounds, that you understand what looks easy is hard, that you are flexible, that you are open, that you can laugh at yourself, that you are kind. And Red would say, each day is magic for me. I hope it will be for you. So that, I think, are the words that I want to impart to you as you start your journey through this wonderful adventure of PCD Taiwan and all the other things that I hope and imagine you might be doing in your life as you go forward. But by the way, those slides are much longer in the actual class at ITP. I edited them down to a small version. There's even a wonderful little book. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me, of Red quotes. She was infinitely quotable. So I'm going to move in a short amount of time that I have, and I know I want to leave some time for questions. Really what I need to do is just kind of talk about a few new things that I'm working on. I'm not going to go through a long backstory about myself. I think you could probably find that if you look for at thecodingtrain.com, if you go to the NYU website. But really what has been a labor of love for the last over 10 years now has been this YouTube channel called The Coding Train. It didn't start as The Coding Train. And in fact, on the left of this image are photos, screenshots of the first videos I ever made teaching code. And you can see in those screenshots an early version of Processing, one of the creative coding environments that I work with the most, in the background there. So those videos were made in 2012. They're on YouTube today. Every once in a while, somebody will watch them and write a comment, say, I'm still watching however many years later. Thanks for the videos. But they really had gone, they're quite out of date. And in the last, starting I think in January of 2023, so I got to get this done by the end of the year, I started re-recording all of them. So I thought, oh, here I am speaking at Processing Community Day Taiwan. I'm going to tell you how it's going, which is that I have finally finished all of the recording, almost all of the editing. I work with a team of different folks who, when the video comes out, you'll see all their names in the video description. And you can see some screenshots on the right of this new 2023 version of the Processing tutorial series. So I don't know where everybody's probably coming from a different place. I hope maybe that some of you in the audience have never heard of Processing, have never heard of me, have never coded before. And so what I'm excited to tell you is if you get excited by everything you're learning and seeing this weekend, I've got, now I sound like I'm trying to sell something, which I absolutely am not, but I've got a new set of tutorials that are all launching hopefully next week, or certainly by the end of the month or sometime this fall. I don't want to make any promises. And so I want to play you, and I just realized I forgot to share my audio. So if you'll bear with me for a second, I'm going to re-share screen. I'm going to play you a short little teaser clip from the video series. Okay, so stop sharing, share screen, share sound. Here we go. And I think I'm back. All right, ready, everybody? Here we go. I'm gonna play this little teaser. Now I built this up too much. It's a short little 45-second video.
Have you ever wanted to learn programming? Do you have no idea what it means to program? Do you want to break free from the bonds of the tools that other people have made for you and learn to build your own software to make things with code? One way that you can learn how to program, not the only way you can or should, but it's my favorite way, and that's with something called processing. I've divided it into different chapters, organized with a table of contents. It's a bunch of lessons, all sequenced, teaching you the fundamentals of computer science and programming with processing. And at the end, everything culminates with a mini project that I'll show you how to build that synthesizes all of the concepts from the series. I can't wait to see what you learn, what you make, and what you think of this series.
All right, so that's my little teaser video. I've been working really hard on this. I've never done this before. I always release video tutorials as little as 10-minute separate tutorials, separate videos in that you could watch in sequence. But this one is going to just arrive and be uploaded as a single. It's about 5 hours of material. And a lot of I've been experimenting with some of the new tools that YouTube offers to chapterize videos and have time codes. And there'll be lots more information when I have this released in terms of how you can find all the code examples, how you can, if you watch them and make stuff, how you can share it back with me and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a big thing that I've been working working on in the last year. I also wanted to talk about today is a day of, you know what? All these things that I did 10 years ago, I'm kind of redoing them again. So yet another thing from 2012 that really was a project that started for me in 2008 is a book called Nature of Code. And if you go to natureofcode.com right now, you'll find the full book online as the website. You're seeing a shot of chapter 2. The book is all about simulating natural systems with code. And I also wrote the book with Processing. And recently, and I'm sure you'll discover, and people will be presenting and talking about P5JS, which is a project that was started by Lauren McCarthy in 2013, a reimagining of processing for 2013 and for on the web with JavaScript. I wanted to make a version of the book that was updated with a lot of new concepts and ideas and things that I learned over 10 years of teaching the book, and also with JavaScript. So I'm also very excited. It's not really an announcement, but I've been trying to do this for, I said I was making a P5 version probably in 2015, just a few years later. And it's only now that I can really confidently say I've finished the hard part, which is the draft of all of the new material. So everything now is just finishing touches on the website. And also I'm working with a publisher called No Starch Press, which publishes different books for a print version. But the book will still be online for free. It's on a preview website. If you look at the slides, you can sort of see the URL there. You can go read it right now. It's got all brand new illustrations in them. Xana Marsh has done the illustrations for the book. Jason Heglin does the illustrations of the characters for the coding train, and Xana has done some work on adapting some of those for the book. And you can see the table of contents over there on the left. So, and one of the things that I in particular want to share with you, and maybe I'm going to click out of this presentation if I still have some time, is I don't know if you've noticed this, but I wrote this book came out in 2012, and there was a chapter in 2012 about neural networks. But if you've been paying attention and sort of reading the news and thinking about technology, you've probably noticed that there is an explosion of work and research in so-called artificial intelligence, in machine learning, in deep learning with neural networks. So I really felt that this was where the book needed the most amount of work updating. So I wanted to see if I could show you here very briefly. I'm just seeing what else I had left. Yes, right. Okay. Let me click to see if this works. It's going to take me over to the website. I want to show you a little bit about the chapter and just kind of talk through it. And one of the things, if I zoom out a little bit, it's got a nice table of contents here. So a lot of the first part of the chapter goes through the fundamentals of neural networks for a total beginner. And this is very similar to what was in the original version of the book, talking about something called a perceptron. I'm going to just like gloss way over this just to give you the highlights. And you can look at it in more detail, looking at why a perceptron, this idea of a single neuron, isn't enough, and how a multi-layered perceptron allows for so many more possibilities. And then there's a project that I've been working on with a bunch of students at NYU and other volunteer contributors from around the world called ML5JS, which is a JavaScript library that is meant to complement P5 and allow you to experiment with machine learning ideas in P5. So I have this one example here, which I'll show you really quickly, which allows you to train your first machine learning model right here in the browser. And it's a very simple example that learns gestures. So it learns that I made a gesture right, left, down, or up. Now, what's important to note about this is you do not need a neural network for this. I mean, it's really insane that I'm using a neural network for this. I could just kind of use an if statement and check some positions about which way the mouse is moving. But I want to demonstrate this idea of how you can collect data and train a model and use it all within one P5 sketch. And of course, there are ways that you could expand this. What if the gesture was not just 2 points, but a path of points? And it opens up a lot of possibilities. The other thing that I look at is a particular technique called neuroevolution. And I'm just going to skip all the way to the end. And in fact, I'm just going to go over to the ML5 examples directly because that'll get me there a little bit faster. I wanted to show you an example that I'm really, really excited about. That is kind of what I'd been wanting to make, what I imagined wanting to make for the first book and was never able to do. So I'm going to click on it right now. And this one is called Neuroevolution Sensors. So what you're seeing here, I call these little creatures bloops. And the bloops, and I don't know, I have the console open, which doesn't need to be. The bloops have these little sensors built into them. And the sensors light up anytime they come in contact with these gray circles, which are their food. So we can ask the bloops, have they eaten today also? And right now, they just make random decisions based on their sensors lighting up. But over time, through this evolutionary process of evolving, those sensors are inputs to a neural network, and the output of that neural network informs how they turn and move. So over time, and I can just sort of speed up time here, and we can sort of see over time, they're starting to get better and better and better at finding the food, and I can scroll all the way back down, and now you see you have this living, breathing ecosystem of creatures. And I would say, like, I feel like when I would see things like this when I was first learning to code around 2001 as a student at ITP, I thought this was impossible to do. And I want to say that it just takes time. And if this excites you and you're interested, I hope that the work that I'm doing to create examples and materials will really help you and that you can follow along and enjoy and explore and expand beyond what I'm able to do in the nature of codebook. So I know I'm at 9:20 already. I want to leave some time for questions. I've got one last little treat for you. This is all about announcements. So I have my new processing learning series. I have my new Nature of Code book. I'm also excited to share with you that I have a new, and if I can hit the slideshow here again, logo for the coding train. You can see I'm wearing my hat here. So this is, and it's not an old logo, it's not a gone logo, but we have something new. And it looks like this. So this is a little train station. We got the little semicolon character waiting. And I'm really excited about this train ASCII-like design icon, because what I would like for all of you to do is I have taken that icon, and which was designed by Jason Hegland, and he sent me an SVG of it, and I translated the SVG into shapes. So let me just click on this to get right to the code there itself, and you can see, and apologies if the font is a little bit small for you all, I'll make it a little bit bigger. And I like the high contrast mode. So you can see here, as I play, this is P5JS, which is another environment that I use to teach. And we can see here that all of the lines and circles. So my dream is for people like you watching, and I'll do this on some live streams on YouTube and help make some videos about it. I want to invite you to remix this logo. So can you make the wheels turn? Can you animate it? What else could it do? I probably can't imagine all of the things that you can imagine. And so I'm excited to find out what you might do and explore. So if you're looking for a little time to tinker with a code example this weekend during PCD Taiwan, please take a look at this. And I will just also say that on the Coding Train website, which is where you can find all of the videos, the thing that I want to highlight for you, and going back to the sort of community, is that on the website is the showcase. So if you are ever making anything with P5, with processing, with any other tools that relates to any of the videos that I made, I want to make sure that I am inviting you to share it here on this showcase. This brings me the most happiness in the world to see these projects come in and see what people are able to do beyond what I think of while I'm making tutorials. So thank you again to the organizers for inviting me. This is a real treat. It feels a little strange to just be here in my garage at home at 9:25 p.m. I was going to bring a mug and pretend I was drinking coffee for the morning or something, or my kids told me I should wear my pajamas because it is kind of past my bedtime. But anyway, so I know we have a few more minutes. I can see the chat going, but I'm happy to take some time to answer some questions if there are, or excited to move on and see what is happening next tonight.
Thank you, Dan. That was awesome, and so many exciting things going at the same time. 好，我们现在来回答一些观众的问题。这样 we probably only have time for 2-3 questions. I'll try. Okay. 第一个问题是有人问说 Dan 的 Nature of Code 有计划要翻成中文吗？ Okay, so the first question is, People are very excited about the new book about the new nature of code. Did you know that if there's any plan of translating that book into other languages?
I'm so glad you asked.
Yes.
So yes, the good news is, so one thing, the book is Creative Commons licensed, which means it is under an open source license. So, based on that license, people can do a lot with that just on their own. But also because I am partnering for a print version with the publisher No Starch Press, they have a mechanism and a way of collaborating with other publishers and other people in other countries to translate. So I did try to do some translations on my own with the first book, but it was too hard for me to manage. So my prompt to anybody who's so yes, I want to have as many translations as possible. And if you're interested in helping with that, in translating, or think you might be able to connect me with somebody who could do that translation, contact me maybe after October 1st, because you can contact me now, but October 1st is my deadline to finish every last little bit of detail for the print book. So once that's gone into the publisher, I'll be refining the website probably forever, but once that's gone into the publisher, then I'll have some mental space to start connecting and thinking about how we're going to approach doing translations.
Great. 好，Dan 说就是很高兴可以回答这个问题，因为他的书其实有2个版本，有线上版本就是网页版，然后网页版其实是 CC 授权，也就是任何人其实都可以，如果想要翻译这本书的话，都可以去翻译这本书。然后但是同时它也有就是纸本版，然后纸本版是由这个就是印刷这个出版社 No Starch Press 在负责的，所以如果是纸本版的翻译，可能就有一些就是跟出版商有关之间的这种协调比较复杂一点，所以如果你对翻译这本书有兴趣的话，请在10月1号之后联络 Dan， 因为10月1号就是他会把现在新版的书的所有内容都完成的这个时间，然后交给出版社，这样，所以如果你对这个有兴趣的话，10月1号你对翻译出版或是就是把这个书翻成任何语言有兴趣的话，你可以在10月1号之后联络 Dan， 这样。How do we get you which email should we send to if we want it?
So that's a good question. There's so many different emails. Why don't the email that's probably good for me to put here, since I'm is Daniel that's easiest for me to say, is daniel@thecodingtrain.com. And I'm also noting here that you can you could also contact No Starch directly. I'm sure they'd be excited to hear, but I'm happy to facilitate that. You can contact me, and I'll put it on the screen. Just use a little.
Okay.Great， 所以 Dan 说，你可以也可以直接去 No Starch Press 的这个网站，然后他们有联络他们的方式。然后如果是 Dan 自己的 email 的话，刚刚有说就是 Dan.at I forgot thecodingtrain.com.
Yeah, here it is.
Yes. OK， 好。然后第2个问题，有人想问说，就是Dan 有没有思考，感觉跟现在问题很及时，有2个相关的问题，就是在现在 ChatGPT 或者 AI 就是这么热门的年代， Dan 有没有想过怎么改变他的教学方式，去就是跟 Creative Coding 有什么样的连接，这样子。Okay, this is a very interesting and challenging question. So I'm going to ask, there's like an AI looming thing in the industry right now, and also in creative coding education. Have you thought about how you're going to approach like ChatGPT and things like that? I know the new books had some chapters about AI, but what's your overall thoughts about it and how to, approach it like pedagogically?
Yeah. Well, let's see. You guys have about 6 or 7 hours for me to talk about this right now. So I do have a lot of thoughts. I haven't come to any conclusions, and I feel very ill-prepared to really, to put anything coherent or articulate together. But so the first thing I just want to say is I'm so glad you're asking the question, and I would love to continue to engage with this question and be in community with the students at NYU, the processing and P5 communities, and let's all figure this out together. But I guess one thing that I would say is that, so there's a couple of things that I will say. One is that I love coding. And I love the craft of coding. And for me, I mean, I was making a joke the other day that's saying that what I do is artisanal, handcrafted code. So to me, I think that there is a place for different tools to help assist and to streamline certain processes. And even there is a place for those tools in the creative arts, probably. But I personally like the process of solving the puzzle. I have done my own experiment with working with different large language models. I could point to different scenarios where I found them really useful. Actually used it to help me pull out a lot of the information from that SVG, which I would have to otherwise do manually. I could ask it to sort of reformat a whole chunk of markup into a different format that I could use. So there are various aspects where that can work. I do think for me as a teacher and what I'm struggling with in class right now, again, I'm going to have to just cut myself off because I'll talk about this all night, is I worry, I don't know how to manage how students and artists and anyone working with these tools should cite their sources. So for me, for example, if I'm looking on a website like Open Processing, and I found some code that somebody released in an open source license, and I was inspired by it, I might pull some of that code and I would write in the comments, thank you very much to so-and-so, here, link to Open Processing, and hopefully I would write a little bit more as well. And that's kind of part of our culture of sharing and credit and open source that I try to do my best. And I think on some level, you could do that with a large language model because you could say, in a student, I would ask them to document their process of using it. But that large language model isn't crediting its sources. So all of those open processing sketches that it collected to train itself to be able to remix it are then sort of lost. That authorship is completely flattened by the giant soup and scale of it. So I don't want to be overly negative. I don't want to be overly positive and full of hype. I'm somewhere in the middle of trying to learn and experiment and hear from everyone. I know that especially visual artists have a lot of very, very well thought out and very important concerns around their appropriation of their visual ideas. So it's a complicated thing, and I would like to get to some place where I can start to work with some of these tools in YouTube videos in a responsible and thoughtful way.
Great. That's an awesome answer, I think, actually. I'm going to quickly translate that so then we can move on to lightning talk. But thank you for that. 所以 Dan 基本上就是说他现在还没有一个很明确的对这个大型 AI 就是语言模型的想法这样子，但是他有2个点可以分享，一个就是他觉得就是这样的内容，他自己是一个就是写 code 的时候，很像他对他来说写程式就很像是在做手工艺一样，所以他常常写程式，然后解决问题是他很享受的一个内容，然后同时虽然他觉得这些就是大型 AI 模型的确有很多很方便的地方，比如说他在用那个他刚刚介绍那个他的新的 SVG 图案，然后他把它转成 P5 的时候，他之前就有用就是一些模型去帮忙这件事情，然后可以快速处理这些过程。可是同时他又觉得就是在写开源程式或者在写创意编码的时候，很多时候我们都跟艺术创作一样，希望可以去 cite 我们原本是从哪里得到这些灵感或者使用别人的 code 的这个部分，然后但是在大型 AI 模型里面的时候，我们没办法就是很明确的去知道它的原出处是哪里，因为这些原出处在这个模型训练的过程当中已经变扁平化，已经变压缩了，然后这些模型通常都不会说他们是从哪里得到这些资讯的，所以他觉得作为一个老师在课堂上使用这些东西有它的好处，但是同时它也有很挣扎的地方这样，然后他觉得我如果就是这个问题非常的好，然后也需要很长时间可以就是讨论跟社群之间互相合作，然后得出一个有趣的结果，他不想要太乐观或者太悲观看这件事这样。That's it. Thank you so much, Dan. We were very happy to have you here and very really enjoy your talk. 感谢 Dan. 然后接下来我们就要进入 Lightning Talk 的环节了。然后我现在要把时间交给我们 Lightning Talk 的第一个讲者，就是芊芊。嗨，芊芊。
等一下，那个 Munas 你要等我转一下，就是对，需要关掉。所以芊芊，你要不要让那个 Dan 做最后的 就是白白纸，然后我就要关掉这个直播。
没关系，可以再关掉。
OK。